At the beginning of the movie, we see a blonde girl named Mahiro Fukugawa, who is giving an interview for a store job. The interviewer asks her many questions, and she answers them awkwardly with a tone as if her heart is not in it. He asks her what shifts she will like to work and if she will be available for weekend shifts. She stopped answering and muttered to herself that she is sick of this conversation and can't go undercover and say let them get mad at me later. Then she pull out a silenced gun from her bag and shoot the guy in the head. She proceeds to click pics of the dead body and casually stands up and starts walking away. It looks like this is something ordinary for her. When she opens the door and steps outside of the manager's room, there are a lot of people present. The employees angrily shout at her and proceed to attack her with knives. She fights them and snatches knives from them and kills them with their knives. As other employees attack her and die, one of them sits it out, and when she is about to leave, challenges her to fight. This one is more skilled than the others and put up a tough fight, but she manages to deal with him. As she is savoring her win, another guy attacks her from behind, but he is shot by someone from behind the counter. Another girl with black hair peeks out from behind the counter, and they start to chat. It is revealed that both of these girls are assassins, and the black-haired girl, whose name is Chisato, scolds Mahiro for going against the plan. She helps Mahiro off the ground, and they walk off while making fun of the manager. It is then revealed that it was all Mahiro's fantasy from the time she stopped answering the manager, and she is still in her imagination when the manager lightly bonks her on the head with the file he is holding. She comes back to her senses and quickly incapacitates the manager. She lets go and apologizes, and proceeds to answer the question, but the manager angrily asks her to leave. She goes to her house, and Mahiro sees that Chisato has someone tied to a chair and he is in bad shape. Chisato asks her about the interview, and Mahiro tells her that the manager was annoying and she had to put him down. Chisato gets called to work at the side job. Mahiro gets angry at her, saying this is her, but allows her to go. Chisato shoots the guy in the head before leaving. Chisato goes work at the cafe. She works clumsily and gets scolded by her coworker for getting whipped cream wrong on the waffle. She learns, but as she takes them to the customer, the male picks up his whipped cream, passing it to the girl. She gets angry and attacks the customer and her coworker, which lead to her termination. She goes back home to Mahiro, who is angry at her for leaving the dead body for her to discard, and they fight. Mahiro asks her to apologize, which she does, and they eat together. The scene shifts to a few weeks ago, when Chisato and Mahiro assassinate a man together. The next day they meet a representative from the organization they work for. His name is Mr. Susano, and he tells them that they will have to live together after graduation as per company policy. He also asks them to find a job aside from their main job as assassins and act as proper members of society. He gives them the keys to the apartment that the organization rented for them. He proceeds to explain how the rent will be deducted and other things, but they don't pay attention to him. The next day they meet up and move into their new apartment. At night they buy from a store nearby their apartment, and the shopkeeper jokingly tells the amount of change in million. They leave and another man gets there. He buys dumplings and the shopkeeper tells him jokingly that his change is 2 million yen. That man is a member of the Yakuza and he doesn't take it nicely. He tortures him and says that now the shopkeeper will have to pay 2 million yen to him. His son, Kazuki, comes there and tells him that the guy who handles the drug died and takes him away. We see that it is the gut Mahiro and Chisato killed, and a girl is looking at the body. She comments it is the work of some hitman. She smells the handkerchief and identifies the scent coming from it. The Yakuza boss comes there and the girl, Himari, who is his daughter, greets him. The Yakuza boss asks Himari to handle the case and promises her the dead guy's drug routes if she did this right. Next, we see Chisato and Mahiro living together. Their washing machine stopped working because Mahiro forgets her loaded magazine in there, and they generally have a lot of disagreements. The shopkeeper is going on the road at night when he is abducted by Himari. She questions him if he hires hitmen to kill a Yakuza, and he tells her that he did. She asks him who killed the man, but he also doesn't know. She learns that he also put up a contract for another guy and decides to use him as bait to find out the hitman. The next day Chisato is late for the assassination and barely makes it in time and enters the man's house. Himari is already waiting for her there. Himari's partner disarms Chisato and takes her gun. Himari smells Chisato's perfume and recognizes it. Chisato tries to attack her, but Himari's partner knocks her out. Himari has her partner beat up the man and tie him to a chair before leaving. Chisato wakes up and sees that Himari has taken her gun and uses a screwdriver to kill the man. The shopkeeper is sitting on his knees and the Yakuza boss is teaching Himari to shoot using him as a target. She misses her first shot but manages to hit him with her second shot. In the present, Chisato is getting ready for work and Mahiro is practicing. Mahiro asks Chisato if she can also work where Chisato works, as she can't do anything alone. Chisato says that she doesn't mind and she takes Mahiro with her to interview. The job is at a roleplay-themed cafe. They will have to wear cosplay-type waitress uniforms, and in the interview the man taking the interview asks them to act cute. Chisato passes, but Mahiro can't do it. The man asks her to observe others for the day. He assigns a waitress named Himeko to train them. They work for the day and Chisato serves a customer. In lunchtime, Himeko comments on how expensive Chisato is eating and how she can't even think about spending that much. Later, they throw a welcome party for Chisato where she buys expensive food for them all. Mahiro is standing in the corner and is not talking and not getting along with others, so she leaves. The next day, Chisato comes home and tells Mahiro that she enjoyed it and asks her why she left. Mahiro tells her that it is not a job she can do and Chisato calls her out for her reserved nature. Later, they meet with Mr. Susano. He tells them of a job, but Chisato asks him to send Mahiro alone, and Mahiro agrees, and they quarrel in front of Mr. Susano. And Mr. Susano advises them to get along. Next, we see the Yakuza boss and Kazuki near the place where Chisato works, and he tells Kazuki that he wants to make their business more women-centric and he wants to try out that experience. He and Kazuki then go to the cafe where Chisato works. They are greeted by Himeko, who gets them seated. Himeko asks them to order in the role-play fashion, and they get a bit uncomfortable with that, but still do it. Himeko proceeds to serve them, and the Yakuza boss continues to get angry. He then lashes out at his son and Himeko, and attacks the manager. He then asks all the girls to line up, and he talks about selling these girls. Kazuki pulls out a gun and starts to impose orders on them. He asks all the girls to stand across the wall and face it. Chisato does not do it, and when he threatens her, she snatches his pistol and shot him in the head and he falls to the ground. The Yakuza boss sits down near his son and Chisato also shoots him. She asks the girls to leave without looking back and not to call the police. She then decides to take the help of the dead body disposal guy, Mr. Tasaka. Later, the organization sends him to discard the body, and they decide to frame it as a Yakuza battle. The man asked her to sign some papers and explains the terms and advised her to stop shooting in the head and aim for the heart, as this make their cleanup work easy. After that, Chisato walks home. Himari is sitting near the body of her dad and brother, and she smells Chisato's perfume off them and realizes that it is her doing. At home, Mahiro apologizes to Chisato, saying that Chisato is someone important to her, and even if she doesn't fit in the world and has no need to face it, she will have to face Chisato and get along with her. She has bought some cake for her as a token of apology. As they sit to eat the cake together, Chisato gets a call from Himari. She tells Chisato that the one she killed is her dad and sends her a location to meet up. She asks Mahiro to help her deal with Yakuza, and Mahiro agrees. They get their guns out and Chisato pulls out a submachine gun to take with her. They leave their cake in the fridge as Chisato explains her meeting with Himari to Mahiro and how she killed her dad. And they decide to eat the cake after coming back and head out to the Yakuza's base. They reach the base via the bike and park it outside. They go in and a goon stops them. He mocks them and asks them to go shopping somewhere else. Mahiro starts to fight him. She kicks him in the nuts and throws him away, and Chisato shoots and kills him. They start to proceed deeper into the base while killing the Yakuza goons. The goons shoot at them, but they avoid the bullets while killing goons and progressing deeper into the Yakuza lair. Himari comes there and starts to shoot at them with the gun she stole from Chisato. Meanwhile, Chisato uses the gun that she snatched from her brother and used it to kill him and their father. She provokes Himari by stating the fact. Mahiro asks her about the machine gun, and Chisato realizes that she lost it somewhere. They continue to fight and split up. Mahiro is confronted by Himari's partner, who fights close combat and avoids her bullets. He manages to disarm her and throw her gun away and get some distance between her and the gun. This forces Mahiro to fight hand to hand with him. Mahiro has a hard time fighting him as he is strong. She runs for her gun and he runs behind her. But instead of picking up the gun, she was planning to use it as a distraction, and she lands a solid headbutt on his nose, which throw him back. She then reaches for the gun and shoots him. She then goes off to look for Chisato. Himari and Chisato are shooting and running while they both run out of bullets. Chisato distracts her as she finds her machine gun and then sprays her with bullets, while almost shooting Mahiro coming from behind. They come out to see that their bicycle is taken by the authorities, and they have to walk home. They get home, clean up, and eat their cake. They meet Mr. Susano, and Mahiro tells him she can't get a job. He asks her to get a driver's license and register as a driver. Mr. Susano allows them to live separately if they want, but they decide to live together.